All right, folks, welcome back to the Night's Watch. I am Jacob.
I'm Alex.
And had an eventful week.
Yeah.
Got her. How are you feeling? Because I feel like there's some stuff I want to talk about with this team. And despite the results that we've had, I'm not feeling very positive. I'm
feeling the way I felt at the beginning of the season. Still cautiously optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about before in that we were really worried about the offense.
Yeah.
The offense is not something we have to worry about right now. I mean, even without Stone, yeah, that Carolina game was a fucking nightmare, but
nightmare.
The game against Utah, that was a great comeback win. These guys scored when they needed it. Hurdle had 2 great goals on the power play.
But do you know how comebacks happen?
By being down.
Exactly. They happen by being fucking awful in the first half of the game.
And it's something we've talked about it quite a few times, is that the worrying thing is something that's supposed to be our strength and like our number one strength of this team has been just piss poor for a majority of the season.
Yeah, we're just hemorrhaging goals every game. And yeah, we've had a couple games here and there, like, only one against, 2 against. Even had the rare mythical shutout.
Yep.
But in general, man, I'm getting more and more troubled because I'm like, we're getting further and further along the season, and it doesn't seem to be getting better.
Well, here's my other thing, though, too, is that we say this, looking at this, is there really a team that's really, really just had a shutdown defensive group this year?
That's true.
Well, Carolina here and there, but there's games where, like, against Utah, they got fucking they got blitzed. I mean, they've gotten beaten by New Jersey. New Jersey beat the dog dicks out of Florida.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is still accurate because I heard this probably less than a week ago. But apparently, the league average save percentage.
You said this last night.
We weren't recording last night, were we?
No. I'm saying you heard when you heard it. We talked about it last night. You say it was like
it's under 900 league wide.
Damn. So scoring's way up.
Scoring is way up. Save goalie performance is way down.
Yeah, we looked at it too. Like, obviously Hellebuck's far and away has the best save percentage, but everybody else is like around like 910, like 905, and lower. I saw it when I watched the Florida game last night. Bobrovsky's, yeah, Bob's got an awful.
Yeah, he's like in the 880s, I think.
Yeah, and Hill's in his 880s. I mean, well, speaking of Hill, he had a damn good game against
that's
Utah.
What troubles me is that Hill has been building his game back up. That's why I specifically didn't say goaltending. I'm more worried about the defense.
He's been stringing them together. That game, those 4 goals against Carolina were not his fault.
They were.
There's nothing he could have done.
It usually drives me crazy too when people defend goalies. Like, well, it wasn't his fault, and I'm like, well, he's the fucking goalie. But that truly was an example of, and I was like, nah, man, I'm not putting any of those on him.
No, not at all.
A lot of those, I'm like, what the fuck is he supposed to do?
It was like a deflection into the 5-hole, or like just a free shot at him, from a defensive breakdown. Like, what do you want him to do? He's not fucking a magician. Like,
yeah, and I think it was the Kotkaniemi goal where, he just had a straight line in, fucking fired it. Hill makes an incredible stop.
Yep.
And then somehow the rebound goes directly back on the Kotkaniemi stick.
Yeah, nobody's there to mark Kotkaniemi coming across this crease. No one's there to like battle for the rebound. It's like, what are you doing?
And it's just the rush defense and
yep.
And even in the zone defense, like, this is a little different because it was a penalty kill. But even in the Utah game, man, that Sergachev goal disgusted me.
Yeah, I didn't get to catch that one, but I did catch the rest of the comeback. He had so much
time and space. He's
got to walk in. Yeah,
he literally just walked into a shot, walked in. No one contested him. Nothing like that. He just couple steps, clear as day, and just fires it.
Yeah,
and it goes in. I'm like, yeah, fucking.
Of course.
Why would you let him do that? And I get it. It's like, oh, they're trying to take away the pass. I'm like, well, I get that. But
you also have to play the shot with a guy like that has an elite defensive shot.
It's like, I get that, but maybe letting someone walk to the almost to the fucking hash marks isn't a good idea.
Totally. And, there's stuff that, I mean, I think defensively we have a lot to work on, and this defense can be really good.
Well, and that's what kills me too, is like the personnel-wise, we have a great defensive core, and we have
it's just execution.
We have good two-way forwards. Like William Karlsson's like probably one of the best two-way forwards in the league.
Jack Eichel.
Yeah, but
Dory looks good two ways. I mean, Kolasar is an elite two-way forward every year. His defensive metrics are through the roof.
Yeah, and it's point being, it's just they're just not performing.
Oh yeah,
the way
team
they
defense
and need to.
Is not good.
And like I said, the fact that we're starting to get a little later in the year. Thanksgiving's coming up, buddy.
Yeah,
and
it's the thing that kills me though too is like you see some of these good defensive games that we have, like against Edmonton, we had a great defensive game, and then Hill had a great game, and then Utah.
They can do it.
Utah,
when they want to.
The second half of the Utah game, we played better defense. The back half of the Utah game, the forwards were firing, we were getting power plays, but team defense was better. But then, then you play like Carolina, and we got absolutely fucking murdered just because of their style of play is relentless.
Well, it's funny because right now we have the Carolina game on TV, and it was they were showing replays of their recent scoring, and one of them was when they scored on us, and I was like, oh yeah, remember how they let one player get all the way to the top of the blue paint with absolutely nobody around him?
Nobody even giving him a check or get in front of him.
Yeah, and he was literally just standing there all alone.
I did like that in the back half of the Utah game. We were fixing that, but we were letting it happen anyways before, the thing that kills me about this team is that if they don't score immediately, then we're just letting fucking soft fucking play-ins come in and we get scored on.
I'm trying to think. I should have counted or double checked, but I think every game since the game against Seattle, we've let the first goal in, and so we're constantly playing from behind, and then sometimes we come back, and then
no, Anaheim we scored first.
Okay.
Then again, again, teams that are good,
yeah, and then point being, more often than not this season in general, it feels like we're trying to come from behind or have a comeback. And yeah, it's awesome and fun and cool when that does happen.
You can't do that forever, though.
But yeah, it's not sustainable. Then, you watch the post-game scrum, and it's a lot of what does that say about the resiliency of the team? I'm like, you know what? I'm not doubting the resiliency, but
I'd also rather be resilient the other way.
I'm like, how about we stop putting ourselves in positions where we need to be resilient?
Yeah. How about we
just control a game?
How about we get up 2-0 or 2-1, and just hold on to a lead instead of going down 2-0 to Utah and hoping to God we score 2.
Well, yeah, and another thing too is, man, we are not very good 5-on-5. It's good to have it's good to have the power play click in the way it is, in a way that it literally never has ever, because we're second in the league right now.
Yeah, number 2 to Winnipeg, I think.
Yeah, so that's great, but at the same time, as I beat this point into everyone's skull during the Edmonton series when we won the Cup, that ain't gonna win you a championship.
No.
That ain't gonna win you a championship.
And I think a big factor is obviously Stone not in the lineup. He's a key piece to a 5-on-5 game, and I don't know what's going on with Hertl on the 5-on-5.
He's been
pretty bad on the 5-on-5, but there's also players that should be way better 5-on-5. Jack Eichel, Barbashev, Kolasar, the lines that are good 5-on-5 are Waugh, Kolasar, and Schwint. That line will be cruising and be playing great, and then they put out one of the top 2 lines, and then the puck goes into the other end of the ice, and they're not pushing as much. The wall line's doing what you wanted to do as an energy line, but keep it going in the top 6 top 6 forwards.
Yeah, well, we're coming up on the 10-minute mark, so I guess I can bring up another topic that's been troubling me that you just touched on. But yeah, man, Tomas Hertl got moved to the wing, and then he stayed on the wing.
Yep,
that's not good. That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
I think it was after what game was that?
It was the Carolina game.
Yeah.
And then he was the Carolina game. They moved him around, and they had him back at center for Anaheim, and he was also kind of being not good. And he left him. Bruce left him on that wing for like the back half of that game.
Yeah, and what really stuck out to me, because thankfully the team has been much better about putting every post-game interview on YouTube, so I don't have to fucking hunt for it. But I was watching Cassidy's post-game thing, and he basically said, someone's like, oh, why'd you shuffle the lines? And he immediately said, he's like, we had to get Tomas out of the middle. And I'm like, that's not good. And he's like, and then he kind of quickly, he's like, well, the 5-on-5 game is dried up a little bit. And he's like, very quickly, like, just a little bit. Well, recently we just had to move some things. And so, he put him with Waugh and Kolesar, and yeah, they looked effective because that's like a huge fucking big heavy line.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like that's effective. That was effectively a third line that night.
Yeah.
And then the fourth line just got benched for the entire third period.
Well, and also in that defense of that, we had fucking Denisenko.
No, exactly. So like, basically, he benched Denisenko and Schwint, and then Holtz just kind of ended up also odd man out.
I felt bad for Schwint getting benched because he's played really, really well.
Yeah,
he's been such a surprise. I know we claimed him, but he's been so good.
Yeah.
He's playing third, fourth line, but he's been excellent in his role. He's been fast. He's been, forechecking. He's been doing everything you want him to do.
He's even been getting a slow, steady stream of points.
Yeah, Schwint's been excellent, and it sucks that he got penalized. Oh my God, he got penalized. To roll 3 lines so like we could try to win.
Try to squeak out a win.
Yeah.
Was that Anaheim?
That was Anaheim,
yeah,
dude.
We were trying really hard to squeak out a win against Anaheim.
Because it was 3-1, and then they scored with like...
Well, the whole first half of the game, we just looked bad. It was so low energy.
Yeah.
And I think even though we scored the first goal early, it was starting to look lopsided the wrong way. And I think Bruce was like, yeah, we got to do something.
Yep.
Because I'm not going to lose to Anaheim.
No.
But yeah, I just find it very troubling that, yeah, he put Hertl on the wing, effectively put him on a third line, and then I think he only has like 3 5-on-5 points this year.
It's hard. It's like I'd be okay with it to like do that if Mark Stone was in the lineup right now.
See, even then, I'm like. The way I look at it is, this team spent a lot of assets.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Committed a lot of cap space.
Yeah.
To ensure that they had not just a second line center, but a premium second line center.
Yeah.
And if he can't even play in the middle at all, that's not good.
I'm
not saying this is permanent, but it's.
I don't know what it is though. Like.
I think it's because Cassidy's system, the centers have to skate a lot, and that's
not his game.
Kind of hard on
his
them.
game is more positioning, and his game's more positioning and like puck skills. He's not like a speed guy.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, he's has a great toolkit. He's got good hands. He finds soft spots in front of the net.
Yeah, here's my perspective on it right now. Like going into the game tonight, we're recording this before the Caps game at 5. Here's my perspective. If he keeps it the same, we have outside of the center lineup that we would have right now, it'd be obviously Eichel, Karlsson, Waugh, and Schwint.
Mm-hmm.
You still have 3 more centers on the team? Howden. Reinberg.
Oh,
if he had to. But we have other centers on the team that can swap in, and that's depending on is someone going to play tonight on the wing, because Silver Knights just played last night.
Yeah.
Are you going to ask someone to play 3 games in a row and be effective?
Plus, I think we would have seen the transaction by now.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody come up, and it's going to be hard to play. I don't know, man. You would want, obviously, you want Hertl to do what he was paid to do and brought in to do, play center. I don't know if it's, like you said, the Cassidy system where he expects him to skate more, be more active, because clearly Jack Eichel fits that system well. Yeah. William Karlsson fits the system perfect. Nick Waugh fits the system perfect.
And they're just familiar with it.
Yeah, and maybe it's still. I know we say he's been at camp and everything. It still takes time, to learn fully a completely different system than you played in San Jose. San Jose was dog shit, and play up to speed of a team that's kind of this quality, right? If it takes him getting put on the wing to like have him figure it out, so be it. You just don't want to see it, but like, and I hope Mark Stone's back for the road trip. I really do.
Yeah, we need him because
we're gonna be on the road for like what, a week and a half.
The next home game after today is on Black Friday.
A week and a half. Good Lord, yeah.
And we play 5 games in that time.
Goddamn, yeah.
Including a back-to-back.
Ooh, yeah. We go on a East Coast Ottawa swing. No, Ottawa. Jesus, East Coast Canada swing.
I think we will play Ottawa, but
we play the Leafs, Ottawa, and the Canadians,
and
then I think we play 2 other teams, right?
Yeah,
2 other East Coast teams. I think Buffalo, maybe.
Let's find.
And then we come back home and play the fucking Jets.
Yeah, no, exactly.
What a home gift.
The rest of this, the rest of this month is going to be brutal. Like I said the other day, we're going to find out what the team is made of.
What it's really all about, because it's going to be some hard fucking games in the next 2 weeks.
So we play Toronto on Wednesday.
Yes.
Ottawa on Thursday.
Great.
Montreal on Saturday.
Perfect.
Philly on Monday.
That's a winnable.
And Colorado on Wednesday.
God, and
we're flying back and we're making a stop in the Central Time Zone for one game.
For one game against Colorado, beautiful, and then we play Winnipeg on Black Friday.
Mm-hmm. And then back to back, it's Utah the day after.
God damn, that's brutal, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
And the Winnipeg game's at 5:30.
Oh boy. I'm gonna be in New Jersey. I'm gonna force myself to watch it and be like, gaze upon this.
Look upon it and weep.
Yeah. Damn, that's a
Jesus wept.
That's a quite a lineup of good teams. I mean, yeah, Montreal is bad, but isn't it a classic this team would lose to fucking Montreal? Isn't that just something in the cards? Like,
that's exactly the kind of thing we would do.
This team, or we would go 3-0 against the Canadian teams and then lose the fucking Flyers.
Yeah. Yep.
Or like we would lose to the Leafs. We would lose to the Leafs, lose to Ottawa, beat Montreal, beat Philly, be down, and be like, oh, we got to be better, and then we fucking just destroy Colorado or some shit like that.
Yeah.
This team's so unpredictable.
Well, the Leafs will be without Ryan Reeves, so we might have a shot.
He's such a difference maker. God, that hit was
gnarly.
Oh my God. I mean, we both hate Darnell Nurse as much as the next Vegas fan, but like, holy shit.
Yeah, I feel a little bad because at first I was like, ha, fucking got him. Nice. And then
you watch the replay, you're like, uh-oh.
And then I was like, ooh. Yikes.
Uh-oh, that's permanent damage.
Yeah, I thought, like I said, in real time, I thought he just wiped him out.
I did too, yeah.
And I will say, I don't think he was trying to hit him in the head.
Yeah, I don't think it was intentional. It was
Elbow
just
was
unfortunate.
Down,
yeah,
shoulder was down. I think he was anticipating Nurse was going to come around the net.
Yep. It was just unfortunate positioning. A lot of speed from both guys. Both big boys too. Yeah, he got 5 games,
regardless of intent.
But like that GIF you showed us yesterday of like Nurse's like neck extending. I'm like, oh,
he got his fucking block knocked off.
Yeah, he's going to be out for a little bit, and he's not great. But if you're Edmonton, you can't be hemorrhaging fucking defensemen right now.
Yeah, because he only got 3.
Jesus,
He only got 2.
Yeah, he only got 2. Good luck. Yeah, man, that was crazy. But like,
not to turn this, not to. I'll just include this real quick. Did you see that fucking clip of Evan Bouchard on one of the goals against?
No.
He literally just like mid back check just stopped skating and just started gliding.
Cool.
And then I didn't see who it was, but the Toronto player just walks in and scores.
Edmonton's gonna pay him $10 million a year.
Yep. Here,
did you see? Also, did you see William Nylander fucking walking the entire Montreal team?
Oh yeah,
and especially walking Lane Hudson.
Yeah,
like just make him look all through all 5 skaters. What the fuck? He literally just stopped.
He just gives up.
That's some fucking Erik Karlsson shit. Like,
I don't know if you knew this, Alex, but that man's going to win the Norris Trophy.
Yeah, right.
Isn't get paid $10 million a year?
Isn't his points like really down?
His points are down, and his defense is
terrible.
as
Obviously,
bad as it's ever been.
Yeah. Not everybody can be like Brock Faber and be good both ways, and not work on his defensive game when he's 21 years old and be like, I'll score less, but still be good defensively. But speaking of defensemen, 2 giant defenseman signings, extensions this week.
Oh yeah,
we re-signed the Theo McNabb pair. Not Theo, but we already talked about Theo, but a second defensive signing. Brandon McNabb's back for 3 years.
How did I not open with this? Shame on me. Well, it was 3 by 3.65.
Yeah, basically a little bit more than, like slightly bit more than he's getting paid right now, like maybe like $800K if that.
Exactly, less than $1 million raise.
And then we talked about this last night. The cap is projected possibly to go up by now $9 million.
Yeah,
rather than the 6 or 7 it was before.
Yeah, I think from the way, because I did go back and watch the video, I think from the way Friedman said it, he basically said like this is the $9 million is the number it should be. That's the true projection based on revenues and stuff. But the league still has these quote unquote guardrails in place from the pandemic, where they were trying to make it rise in set increments. So I think, I don't know if it has to be the board or who it has to give approvals. Basically, I think the league has to say, yeah, we'll let it rise that much. Which
I think it will. I think they will. But then we talked about this, like, who were the GMs that didn't spend money? Kelly McCrimmon didn't spend money. Now he's extending everybody, knowing he's going to have that money. Bill Garrett.
The extensions that we have done,
they're not a lot.
Yeah.
They're not insane.
We got Theo for under 8, which is crazy.
Yep.
McNabb for 3.3, I think.
A consistent,
that's fine.
Yeah, a consistent middle pairing defensive defenseman.
Yep, who's constantly mentoring the young guys.
Yep.
Everyone, it's always the same story. He makes whoever he's playing with, he makes them better.
Yeah, I know I sent it to you, but did you watch Theo finding out about the McNabb signing?
I did. That was so
He's
wholesome.
Like, oh, he did? Like he was like so happy.
Yeah,
that, like
his face like lit up. He's like, oh, that's great. He's like, how long? Like 3 years. He's like, oh wow, that's good. Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so happy his buddy's back. His defensive partner's back.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it's a great signing, and then that kind of leaves obviously the few guys to sign after that, but like. I think I was reading that with the McNabb deal, we have like give or take like $20 million in cap space next year.
Yeah, I mean,
and obviously we have to sign Colasar and Howden and probably, but
that's the thing. If you have, 'cause I think the number I saw was like 18 something.
Yeah.
So if you have 18 and you only have some bottom sixers to sign, and then importantly some goalies to sign.
Sure.
You theoretically should have enough money left over to snag an addition.
But that's also not including the raise.
Yeah.
So then if the $9 million raise is truly there and we have $9 million basically, I'm like, Kelly could go big game hunting in the off season.
And
there are some big names. We were looking through it last night. There are some big names. Of course, there's guys that are going to get paid a ton, and you would think Colorado resigns Rantanen, but everything
can they, though?
Can they? Yeah,
they're already giving Nate like $13 million.
13.
McCarr's
getting paid a lot.
I mean, he's getting paid a deal now compared to what.
But yeah, they're gonna
make. But whenever he comes up, he's gonna.
Like $16 million. Like
yeah, exactly. He's like quite literally the best defenseman in the world.
Yeah, easily. Well, he's quite literally a top 5 player in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
But. I don't know if they can, because I don't think they have that's why they're so they were on the downswing. Yeah, they had players that are in and out, but they couldn't resign anybody because they're so cap strapped.
Exactly.
I mean, and then also you've got Minnesota. Who do they have to resign? Just Kaprizov. Give him $14 million, and you're gonna have money because Spurgeon and Suter come off the books.
Yeah, that was my first thought when for some reason other than our own team, I was like, oh man, I was like. Well, Minnie's gonna have no problem keeping Kaprizov and probably adding as well.
They're gonna keep him and then add a massive name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, could you imagine Minnesota with Rantanen?
Oh my god, that'd be insane.
He's already a big, heavy guy that's like super skilled, or like them signing a good defenseman, like someone to pair up there with Faber.
Mm-hmm.
I know their defense in that team's been solid, but like the good GMs. I'm not saying, and almost not saying that Nashville is dumb, but they're kind of shitty right now, and
yeah,
they kind of suck. But the guys that were like thinking long term, like no, it maybe not this year. We can be competitive, but there's a lot of money coming. And we laid out our plans. We're not spending a ton of money.
No, exactly. Yeah, and like I said, the pieces that we do have, we signed for some bargoons.
And then we can also, if we're competing and we're, in a competitive spot at the deadline, we'll have like $4 or $5 million in cap space accrued by that time. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of players you could get for that.
Yeah,
and I think it's like great. I mean,
McCrimmon may be an evil genius. I fear
we disagree with some of his decisions and some of the things he's done, but he's a smart guy. There's a reason why he stayed in good graces with Foley for so long. Mm-hmm. I mean, the man's move brought us a cup.
I was about to say, it's like
all the moves he's made has brought us a cup in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
So I would call him a very good GM. I know we've talked about it, like what we said, like top 5 GM, maybe top 3.
I would say, yeah. I think it's like him and Zito and like
him, Zito, and Jim Neal.
Yeah, and even then, like Jim Neal, I'm like, it's really more your scouting department than anything else.
Oh, then him being exactly. Than him being the GM, it was more of his amateur scouts being really fucking good and catching Wyatt Johnson late, Logan Stankoven late, Otter late in the first round. All those guys they got not as like top 5 picks, right?
Yeah.
Robertson. I think it's really though. I think really, like you're right. I think it's more of his scouts versus his actual like wheeling dealing. I think it's gonna be huge. I feel like people really don't realize how big of a deal that is.
No, I agree.
Especially with the ultra competitive teams that are still out there. I mean, that means Florida's gonna have money to spend, and look how good Montreal. Jesus, I blacked out there and thought Canada for a second. Montreal's dog shit. Look how good Toronto's defense looks.
Yeah,
after being completely remade, that defense looks really good.
It looks good for now until Chris Tana falls apart in a year or two.
It might be this year. Yeah. That man's got some hard miles and some old bones.
But yeah, and then you just look back. It's like, well, maybe Kyle Dubas shouldn't have traded for Erik Karlsson's $11 million contract.
Oh my god, dude, Pittsburgh is so fucking bad.
They're fucking awful.
You texted me the other day. It was Locked On Penguins. The screenshot, and the guy was just like going through a depressive episode. I'm like,
well, the name.
I would too.
Let me look up real quick what the name of the video was, because it was just like a post game stream.
I called it right. I said that Pittsburgh was going to be one of the worst teams in the league and to get a top 5 pick.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, where's our text thread?
And then didn't Dubas say, not like come outright and said it, but like in a closed door meeting, everybody but 87's available.
Yep. He's like, everyone's available.
I mean, really though, like they're available, but who's gonna fucking trade for Erik Karlsson at that much money? Who's gonna trade for the bloated corpse of Chris Letang?
Yeah.
Like what? It's Marcus Pettersson.
No, exactly. I'm like, I can't imagine anyone wanting any of those players.
Maybe Marcus Pettersson and like Brian Rust, because they traded what's his name? He went to Washington. What's the player's name?
I can't find this fucking picture.
But yeah, they just traded somebody to Washington, and
Lars Eller.
Lars Eller. I think they're going to trade more, but like realistically, the contracts that they have, are you going to be able to trade those contracts?
Yeah.
Like Erik Karlsson's he's getting paid 10.5 on the contract. What your part of the deal is, because I think San Jose only retained 10%.
Oh, yeah, they retain barely anything.
Yeah,
like they have essentially the full fucking contract.
Yeah, and then you're going to have to, and if you're Pittsburgh, you'll have to retain money on that.
Yeah.
And then Gino hasn't been good. Letang's been awful. What we're seeing is like a clear difference between Pittsburgh, because Washington we thought was very going to be in a similar kind of situation, right? Because they're old and slow. But Spencer Carberry's got him playing a great system, and they're scoring, and they're defending well, and their goaltenders are playing good. You know what? I saw something. It's on for Pittsburgh. Like, is it so much a Dubas thing, or should it be? It's got to be Mike Sullivan, right?
I think it's a Hextall thing.
Yeah,
I think Dubas was given an impossible task, more or less, and I think he's kind of subtly hinted. Yeah, I think Dubas was basically given an impossible scenario.
Oh, totally, because he comes from Toronto, where he's got all this young talent and a team he built, and he hand selected these guys.
Well, yeah, and then he's given this team where he's like, oh, by the way, we just look all because all these like re-sign like Letang and Mal like that contracts. That was all before him.
Yeah, all those happened.
And they're like,
right
hey, here's
him.
A team with nothing but anchors.
Nothing but something. Old men, old anchors.
Yeah, and so he traded for Karlsson, which was a desperation move.
Yeah, agreed.
And a stupid move ultimately, but at the same time, like, well, what the fuck else was he supposed to do?
Yeah, he was strapped with anything
obvious
he could do.
They needed some kind of high end offensive piece, which at the time, you would think, well, at least he can put the puck in the net. That's something. But
not anymore.
Yeah, now he can't even do that. So I think he was that, and I think ownership has been very firm, and you cannot start a rebuild while Crosby's here.
Exactly.
You cannot start a rebuild while Crosby's here. So it's funny because he's like, oh, yeah, literally everyone's up for trade, but it's not a rebuild. We're just saying, if you want to trade for literally anyone, name your price.
Yeah, no.
And then he also said, like, well, we don't want draft picks. We want players. Well, Lars Eller just left for 2 draft picks.
Yeah, so. You're not getting players back. You'll be lucky if you can trade Letang in that contract. You'll be lucky to get a mid-round pick back. Karlsson's going to get you jack shit because you're going to have to retain. And then Gino, maybe you might get a second-round pick because he does still have the talent. He's just old. The smart thing to do would be to do.
Remember the second week of the season, everyone's like, "Oh my God, Gino's back!" Everyone, Gino leads the league in scoring. He's going to win the Art Ross. Gino Art Ross is going to feed families for real. Yeah, that didn't last too long.
Yeah, and they would be smart to trade Sidney Crosby, get a fucking haul for him
with the contract that he signed for 2 years at a reasonable cap.
$8.7 million. Yeah. That's an extremely tradable contract.
It's literally the only tradable contract, and it's also the only one they won't trade.
And you bet your fucking your life on a team would go
your bottom dollar.
Yeah, either would go, I will give you 2 first-round picks, a prospect, this, and this to have Sidney Crosby. Like, it'd be a done deal immediately. Because who else you can trade that to? Cody Glass? Like, sorry, Cody, I don't think you're gonna get much fucking for getting having to sign in Pittsburgh. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just not good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all you were talking about. Art Ross's. Do you know who the number 2 player in assists in the league is this year?
Jack Eichel.
Jack Eichel. Mm-hmm. Only second to Nathan McKinnon's freak season.
Damn.
Yeah, that's something to think about. I mean,
so is this going to finally be the year where Eichel puts up 100-something points and people are like, oh, yeah, now we'll acknowledge that he's good?
He's on track to be well over.
I think he's on track for like 130-something.
Yeah, scoring is way, 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 way up this season.
Yeah, I just saw a graphic.
So I feel like it is.
So Jack Eichel has 11 points in his last 5 games. He has 27 points in the season.
God
he
damn.
is 4th in league scoring.
God damn.
Yeah, and like I said, I think he's on pace for 130, 140 something points.
Yeah, it's just Jack Eichel is that guy.
He is him.
He is that guy, pal.
Unfortunately, I must report that he is indeed him.
He is indeed him. I mean, I think it's great. I just think, like I said, I love the scoring. I love that this team is scoring. I love that we have a great power play. I hate that we're starting to abandon the Cassidy system that's been standing for so long of team defense.
Yeah.
We can't keep playing barn burner games. We don't have the speed to do it.
Yeah, exactly. If we start relying on that to win, it's going to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we've been finding ways to win the last few games, but pretty quickly we're going to start losing those games. And then,
I mean, we're about to play the Capitals. It's going to be a difficult game, and we tried to play that game against Carolina, and Carolina fucking just destroyed us. Just swarmed the goal, swarmed the team, like just were relentless. Yeah, and Hill got pulled, and Schmidt actually looked pretty decent in the time that he had, but we've got to play a better game against.
The game was fucking over. I don't think Carolina was trying too hard.
We've got to play better team defense and better team play overall against contenders. We could fucking bury Anaheim's dick in the dirt all day we want. We
didn't even do that. Yeah, we barely won that game.
Yeah, and we can come back and beat Utah. In all reality, Utah doesn't really have a defense. We shouldn't have been down 2-0.
Yeah,
but like when you're coming to like Carolina, beat the crap out of us. And we're playing the Caps tonight. And frankly, I won't call the Caps a contender. I would say they're definitely a playoff contender.
Yeah,
with the way they're playing, they all look really good. That's going to be a difficult game. And then you're going to go on a road trip to Toronto and Ottawa, Montreal, and then to Colorado, and then come back home and play Winnipeg. It's a murderer's row of contenders right now.
Yeah.
So this is like you said, this is a difficult stretch. We need to buckle down and win these games. Like,
yeah, if we try to run and gun through this, it ain't gonna work.
No, not at all.
And I feel like every year, there's always that one road trip that ends up being so pivotal.
Yep.
And thankfully, we're still first in the division right now.
Uh-huh. So it's close.
If we do get clobbered, hopefully we'll have time to come back.
Yeah.
But
well, that's like we talked about yesterday too. Like those teams that started off really bad are starting to come back, regress to their ability. Like Edmonton's winning again, Colorado is winning again because they got some health back in the lineup.
Yeah, they added like 3 players back in like 2 days.
Yeah, they're not playing fucking a 7th round pick in their top 6 out of desperation.
Yeah.
St. Louis has been half decent. There's a lot of teams that are kind of coming back up to that, where we expected them to be from their slow starts. And so you can't get away from thinking you're going to have a lead forever. Look, that's literally what happened to us last year. Barely made the playoffs, and that's what happened the year that we missed the playoffs. We thought we were going to hang on, and we didn't.
And that's what I always think of with that. How I said, like, there's always that pivotal road trip, and you look back, and you're like, yeah, if we had gotten at least 3 points, that might have made the difference.
We would have been in 3rd place or something. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like with the year that we lost, we went on that road trip in like January or February, and we lost every single game and had a point out of like a possible.
I think that road trip, I think we lost every game in regulation.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
It was a big road trip like this, and we literally got 0 points.
Yeah, it was like 5 games.
It was kind of like that was. I think that was the point where everyone's like, this team is in deep trouble.
yeah, exactly. And then last year we had a similar one where we probably like got like 2 points maybe out of like a possible like 8. And we're both like, oh, I don't know, it's getting dicey here.
Yeah.
So this road trip needs to not be that.
Exactly.
Like win tonight or get a point tonight.
The road trip, and then I'll just lump in the 2 home games after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Get a win tonight. Get a point tonight. Set a good precedent for going on the road. On this East Coast swing. I think the team can do it. It's just the team defense has to be better. Petro needs to be better. Theodore's been actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Hannafin needs to be better.
Yeah, he got hot for a second there, scoring wise, but I feel like defending wise, he's not.
Yeah, Theodore's defending's been a lot better, like game over game as you watch him. And then obviously, McNabb is McNabb. It's besides the point.
Nope, don't even need to. Oh, yeah. And that's another thing where I'm wondering if it's hurting us more than people realize, because people love to forget this guy. Nick Hague's been out of the lineup for about 5 games.
That size is out of the lineup. I mean, I like Ben Hutton and I like Caden Korzak, but Nick Hague's a big fucking boy, and he's got a nasty shot.
He's a good defenseman, and
he's
in his prime right now.
Yeah.
Korzak's still
young,
still getting up to speed.
Yeah.
Hutton's probably a little on the older side.
It would be good to have him in the lineup when we play teams like Washington and now bigger, heavy teams that have gotten better at scoring and are heavier now, like Toronto. I would love to have Nick Hague against Colorado and Winnipeg, because those are big, heavy, deep teams now too. It's we need him back. I mean, we need Stone back. Victor Olofsson's not even skating yet.
Yeah, that's another one too. Where I'm like, are we ever gonna see Olsen?
It's such a shame too. He was red hot.
Yeah,
coming out.
And not only that, and granted, it was only like a 3-game sample size.
3-game, but he looked
good. Like he was playing smart. He was playing responsibly. He was doing what he had to do on the walls.
Speaking of additions that I feel like people aren't as impressed by as we are, Alexander Holtz. I know he's not scoring, but he's changed his game to be a Bruce Cassidy forward.
Yeah, he's been quietly building up the other areas of the game.
The Carolina game he didn't have a great one, but who on the fucking team had a good game?
Literally
zero.
No one.
He's like the games we've watched. I've seen he's getting down into the corners. He's getting better positioning, better decision making. Like he's a completely different player than he was in New Jersey. I would say he's just not finishing plays, but he's getting close.
Yeah, he's gotten way stronger on the walls.
Yes.
He's gotten
stronger in the puck too.
Yeah, better defensively.
Yep.
It's forechecking.
His skating's gotten a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, I think skating with Carlson really
for sure.
brought something out of him.
I'm sure.
And I think that's why I know they tried him with Eichel for a bit. Didn't look like I was working. They moved him back down with Carlson, but I think he's been with Carlson since, hasn't he?
Yeah, he only got benched against Anaheim because we needed to have a complete team defense. Like nothing against it. Again, Holtz has had a better year, but like they needed the right guys out there for the situation
to squeak that win out against the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah,
we had to shorten the bench.
Yeah, no, totally. But
which happens sometimes.
Yeah, but I think I've been impressed by his game. Again, he's not scoring as much, but that'll come. And I also do think, remember at the beginning of the year, you had a call, Pavel Dorofeyev, 30 plus goals. He is on pace for over 40 right now.
Yeah,
he is. Oh, he looks good, and now he's going to play with Eichel for a couple full games.
Yeah, I think he's just hit that point of his development where it's like, yeah, he can play in the top 6, and he can drive offense, and he can hold the puck, and
yeah, he's like we've said it like 3 times on this podcast, but he's stronger than he looks.
Yeah,
he looks like a skinny little Russian kid, but
I was going to say he has the face of a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah, but he is so strong in the puck, and he is so good at carrying it into the zone. And you know what? If they had some practices and they're gonna keep him with Eichel, I think he's got a solid chance of scoring tonight, and so does Eichel with those two guys. Did you see when they were on the ice against Anaheim, Radko Gudas was trying to start some shit, and Barbie showed back up and like hit Gudas, and Gudas like immediately stopped. It's like, remember what I did to you? remember what I took from you?
Never forget, Radko.
I took a rib and a Stanley Cup from you.
I took a pound of flesh, and I'll take a pound more.
Yeah,
guy.
But I like that line. I don't know if they've put out any like practice lines from today.
No, well,
because practice was early today, right?
Yeah, but it was an optional skate. So
was
only
it
3 or 4 people there?
Let's see.
And then it's only 4:25, so warm-ups will start in 5 minutes.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, and they have
look at these Maverick posters.
And it's like, let's say it's Maverick's birthday. That's so cute. I love.
Yeah,
he's a cute Labrador.
Yeah, I like dogs.
10. Oh, so that's not even out. So it's 10:15. Yeah, I would expect. If we didn't call anybody up, it's gonna be Barbie, Eichel, Dory, and then Pearson, Carlson, Holtz, and then Hurdle, Wah, Kolasar, and then the fourth line of Schwint and Hout. Oh wait, no, Pearson will be with Schwint. Howden up with Kolasar. Not Kolasar, with Carlson, and then Pearson, Schwint, and somebody else, or 7 defensemen. But yeah, we'll see. That game starts in 30 minutes. We are going to watch that at the good old watering hole, Mojave.
Mm-hmm. I think we should also sneak in some Henderson talk.
Yeah, we will. No, let's do it right now. Henderson, man, we went to that game last night. It was such a good goddamn game.
It was a great game.
Such a great game played even on both sides, from Tucson and from Henderson. Just a really tightly played game, but the refs were fucking awful.
Yeah, I'm usually not one for blaming refs.
No, there were some calls that they just were looking right at. Like,
well, it was a very tight game. was a very chippy game.
Yes. Of course, as it would be on the second night of a back-to-back.
Exactly. And it was 1-1 in the third period.
For a lot. Yeah, it was 1-1 from 15 minutes into the first, and it was just a constant back and forth.
Yeah, and they missed a pretty blatant interference call.
Yeah, a couple pretty blatant interference calls.
Fairly blatant cross-checking call.
Yeah, but then they give Lavoie a weak-ass hooking call.
Yeah, and it was so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And
they immediately scored on the power play.
Yeah, with 5 minutes left. And I'm like, how are you going to call that shit in a game that late? A tied game.
That's this tight and being played this tight.
Yeah, I was just disgusted.
Yeah.
And it really hurt because, we didn't go to the Friday game, but we won. And, after the disastrous start, the team's kind of, I don't say turned it around, but they've been playing much better.
Yeah, and then you're saying that Ryan Craig's been basically drilling them.
Yeah, so I think it was last episode or maybe the one before that, but we talked about them getting fucking waxed by Ontario, 8-3,
50 shots on goal.
Yeah, so apparently, according to Brian McCormick, Ryan Craig was not fucking happy
as expected. As he should.
And there was a stretch without games for almost 5 days, I think.
I think so, yeah.
And I just remember looking on, I didn't want to speak the name of this website out loud, but I was looking on a social media website where they post the schedules. And, it was weird. It's like, oh, there's not going to be a practice. And then actually there will be a practice. And shit was moving around. What's going on? Well, apparently, after that 8-3 loss, they had some really fucking hard skates and some really hard practices, which again, as they should.
Yeah.
And I guess the way it was structured is Ryan Craig took every mistake, and he basically made a list, and then had everyone out on the ice, and he was like, all right, this point of the game, lost a foot race, led to this, led to that, led to a goal again. So guess what? Now you're gonna win your foot race, then just fucking skated them into the fucking ground.
Yeah,
and then after that, it's like, okay, this part of the period. Lost a puck battle on the wall. The puck goes this way, goes here. It's in the back of our net. It all started with this lost puck battle. So guess what? Now you were going to win this puck battle, and then just hard fucking battle drills.
Yeah, you at that point you have to, because one, it's his job, and also two, these aren't amateur. These aren't kids. These aren't. I mean, you're young, but these aren't amateur players. You're not in juniors anymore. You're in. I know we call the AHL a minor league, but you're in a professional hockey team, and
it's a relatively veteran group because even our homegrown guys, most of them have been playing in Savannah. They played pro hockey. They're not 18.
Yeah.
Even the younger guys are 21, 22.
But there's guys like Bischoff and Robert Haig and McLean and Shaika got sent down to the ECHL.
I was gonna say, and I think that. I don't know if something happened in one of those practices or if it was just based solely on the game, but yeah, we should talk about that too. Daniil Chayka got sent down to Tahoe.
And he's 22, 23, something like that.
Something like that. This is his third pro year with us. He was a second round pick.
Yeah.
He was a relatively high pick. Well, it was early in the second round.
He was what you said last year. He was a -19, and the year before a -29.
Flip it. It was a -19,
God.
and then last year he was a -27, I think.
Jesus.
And so far in this season, he played 5 games and he had 1 point and was a -5, I think.
It just didn't look good.
And it sucks because
I like him. I was excited for him as a prospect.
Well, I feel like he always caught our eye because one, he's fucking huge.
He's big, yeah. He's a big boy, yeah.
But despite that, he's a surprisingly good skater.
Yeah,
he can move for a guy that age, or that size, I'd rather.
Yeah.
But yeah, not good. Not a good sign for his development.
No, and now you're getting passed by guys like Joe Fleming and Christopher Seedoff, and you already have an exciting new guy in the ECHL with Cholak.
Mm-hmm.
There's guys in the system that you're gonna get passed by pretty quickly. I mean, look what happened to Jake Bischoff.
No, exactly.
He got passed up pretty quick.
Look what happened to Brendan Brisson.
Look what happened to he got
Cole Schwint has been on the team and he's been great.
Been great.
Brisson is in the fucking AHL.
We made this joke this week when Denisenko and Romberg both got called up, and you're like, anybody but Brendan.
Yeah, no, that's what it feels like. It's like it's like, all right, in today's episode of anyone but Brendan Brisson.
Yeah.
And then you know what the finale of that show was? Like, we'll just have Caden Korzak play forward.
Yeah, I we were talking about it the other day. I'm like, this year is probably the year he gets traded.
I
just don't know where he goes.
I don't think anyone even wants him. I feel like we would have traded him already.
Yeah, if anybody wanted, yeah,
because the results have been so poor, and he's 23 years old.
Yeah,
it's just.
Well, I mean, I was like, well, it's like Cody Glass, but Cody Glass played more NHL games than he did.
Yeah, I mean, Cody Glass, he's on an NHL team now.
Yeah, he's been on NHL teams.
He's a fourth liner, doesn't score a lot, but I think with Cody, he learned
he changed his role.
He changed his style and he learned how to use his size.
Yep, and he got bigger. He bulked up too.
Exactly. So he's like, okay, so I obviously can't score in this league, so I still want to be here. So okay, yeah. I'll change my game. To be a bottom six guy.
And he's made a role for himself. I don't know. I've had a lot of hopes in Brendan Brisson, and I've really, we've talked a lot. Like, this is like, we want him to be pushed. We watched this guy go, like, get to Henderson. He's been good, really good in the AHL. Just he's not clicking in the league, but that's also the thing where he's got the talent around him to click. He's playing with guys like, I know Nick Waugh's as a bottom sixer for us, but like Nick Waugh's super talented. He played with Tomas Hertl. He's played with Carlson and Eichel. He just hasn't put it together.
Yeah.
Like, once you've been tested out with all these high end centers that we have, and nothing happens.
Yeah, and it sucks because I would love nothing more than to have one of our first rounders fucking work out.
But then when you've got guys,
and to clarify, work out here, not work out.
But when you've also got guys in the AHL that are playing right now, that are like guys that you drafted, and they already immediately look better. Like, look at Kai Uchez. He's been really great. He's been great this year.
Because even last night, that first line with Romberg and Brisson didn't do a whole lot.
No.
I think you're right. It was the line with McLean and Uchez that was really being effective.
Uchez looks excellent. Lavoie looked really good last night. Lavoie was hutting bodies last night towards the end of that game. Like, there's guys that are already passing him that we're just bringing into the system. Like you said, Schwint passed him immediately, and he was a waiver pickup.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad. It's not like we're saying he's awful. He's not an awful player. He's just not clicking.
He's just not clicking, and it's a shame because he has the talent.
He's uber talented. He's incredibly talented.
I'll say this again because we talked about this during training camp, but Bill Guerin and Doug Armstrong both had some version of the same quote over the summer where they said, "Listen, man, the NHL is the best league in the world, and our goal is to be the best team in the best league.
Yep.
So you're not getting shit handed to you. You have to earn it. You have to take those spots.
Look at here's something I would draw an equivalency to is Cutter Gauthier thought he could, and he did, weasel his way out of Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And he got to Anaheim. He barely just scored his first goal of the season.
Yeah.
And he's looked
bad.
It was who was the clip? Someone put a Gauthier into like a blender, like took his ankles. It was, I don't remember who it was. But yeah, he got shook out of his shoes trying to defend. And that goes again to Anaheim not being good, but like, yeah, you have to earn this, earn the spot, right?
Yeah. And
that's what really got me fucking pissed off with like some of these kids coming in. Like Rutger McGroarty's, I'm not going to play in Winnipeg. Well, now you're in fucking Scranton, bud. Like,
the Pens have been dog shit, and he couldn't even make the dog shit.
Yeah, exactly. And then Cutter Gauthier, he would be probably in San Diego if they didn't desperately need forwards on that team.
No, exactly.
Because Mason McTavish is injured, and Trevor Zegras sucks balls. And
yeah, man. Yeah, and Mason McTavish, he has not been good either.
Well, he's been injured for a little bit, but really he wasn't good. The only good forward on the entire team was probably Troy Terry. And Troy Terry is a good hockey player, but you want Mason McTavish.
Well, you don't want the 30-year-old to be playing well. You want your
22-year-old.
You want your first round picks to be playing well.
Exactly. And Lucas Carlson has been good.
Leo Carlson.
Not Luke. Why did I say Lucas?
They were talking
Leo
about
Carlson.
this on The Athletic the other day, and I was like, I'm kind of starting to agree, but basically one of the guys is like, guys, I think we need to have some kind of referendum on this idea of like these young players and like how good they actually are. And
yeah.
Because Matty Beniers hasn't been great.
No.
Cutter Gauthier has been bad. Mason McTavish has been bad. Fucking a lot of high end names. Everyone's like, oh yeah, well, they're so talented and they're so good.
They're so talented and so good in juniors and in college.
Not exactly.
And now they're playing against fully grown 6'5", fully grown, fully healthy men.
And my biggest pet peeve with that whole conversation is like it always turns into, it's like, well, he's actually really good, but his evil old man coach is trying to force him to play a style that he doesn't want to play. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry that you have to fucking play a reasonable amount of defense when you're in the fucking NHL.
Yeah.
Like you just do.
Yeah.
Unless you want to be Montreal. I'm like, oh yeah, well, Cole Caulfield has 13 goals. They're also in last place.
And he's also a minus.
Yeah, so.
And the rest of that team is also complete fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
The second line center in that team is Alex Newhook.
He's also like what, like fucking 24.
He's 24. Yeah.
So like he's like not even like a kid anymore.
Did you see that?
Nick Suzuki's already 25.
Yeah.
Man.
Did you see that thing where like, oh, Cole Caulfield's gonna make Team USA? No. He scores a lot, but you think he's really gonna be great in a best on best tournament when he's like playing on the fourth line?
It's like the former Swedish national team coach that was like, yeah, they shouldn't have selected Erik Karlsson.
He's bad. Erik Karlsson is terrible. That was so funny. He's like, they shouldn't have made him a first pick because I would not have put him on my team.
Yeah, well, basically he's like, well, his defensive deficiencies are so
glaring
that in a short tournament like that, where every game counts, you can't really afford to have him on the ice.
Yeah, I do think, again, what Cole Caulfield's doing is what he's need to have done, and this is the we were always down on him, and we're always making fun of him in Montreal. If you're calling yourself a goal scorer, okay, cool, you're scoring goals.
All right, real quick. Game starts in about 20 minutes. You know what the line rush is?
Yes.
So first line is Barbie, Eichel, Dorofiev.
Love it.
Second line is Hurdle on the wing, Nick Waugh and Keegan Colasar. Third line is Howden, Carlson, Holtz. Fourth line is Pearson, Schwint, and blank. Because we're going 11 forward, 70.
Mm-hmm.
And then Theo Petro.
Oh, they switched the defense up.
Yeah, Theo Petro, Hanifin, Whitecloud, McNabb, Korzak. And then Hutton.
The seventh.
Yeah. Samsonov starts tonight.
Oh, Sammy's in?
Mm-hmm.
Boy.
So Mark Stone misses his 5th game in a row.
Oh, my God.
Just a little maintenance stay. It's
please be ready for the trip. Please, Mark.
Yeah.
If you're hearing this, Mark, please.
Yeah, we need you.
Yeah.
But anyways, almost time for the game.
Let's get over there.
Gotta feed the dogs, so let's
I gotta pee.
Yeah, get out of here. Then we'll hop back with some post game.
Until then,
you guys can. There might be a radical shift in our tone, boys. There might be a radical shift in our tone.
Either we're gonna be very excited or very, very mad.
Yeah.
Well, stay gold.
Let's get it.
Stay gold.
Stay gold. All right, folks, we're back.
And welcome to the post game.
Welcome to the post game.
I'm gonna kill myself, Jacob.
As predicted, there has been a radical tone shift.
We're here with
the first
Kyler.
half of the show to the second half of the show.
We all want to die.
So we're at the local watering hole. We're with our good friend Kyler. We just watched the game. Kyler, what were your honest opinions as a fan?
One, I just want to say thank you for having me back. Really appreciate it.
Naturally.
It's bittersweet. Like, seeing Thompson just, again, deal with 41 shots on goal, it's cool to see because, like, he was on our team and he was great. And it's good to see him, like, do better. But I really wish it wasn't against us. If it was any other team, I would have been happy. But
it had to be against us.
It
had to be against us.
Yeah, I was like, out of, like, again, 41 shots and you only let 2 in, hardly gave up any rebounds, if any. And just was so good, and like I'm mad about it, but I'm also like, oh, so good for him.
Yeah, so reminiscent of the first game we played against Washington. Like, this the same.
The fact that again it was 4-2 for a good chunk of time, so I'm like,
And that it just started with us again having a slow start,
and then
no urgency, no execution, getting bullied. And then once we went down by 2, I guess we'll start playing now.
But I started picking it back up in like 10 minutes of the third period. And I'm like, you guys, where was this again 40 minutes ago?
Yep. Yeah.
And like I get it, like not like again first period not going all out and just kind of still going for it, but like there was no urgency until again like there's 10 minutes left. We got to do this as quick as we can. And again for like the third period had it mostly in their zone. So I'm like, where was this?
To me, there was a stretch early in the third, like the first like 10 to 12 minutes of the third, where we kind of slowed down because they were choking us out. And to me, I'm like, that's where we died, because we were down 2, and we had to score at least 1 just so we could pull the goalie to get close. And the fucking Washington knew it, and they buckled down and they stopped it from happening. And Thompson had some big saves, and
he had some really big saves.
And more than that, they were just playing smart, and we did not play smart, I don't think.
No, because again, we were doing a lot of passing, and that led to nothing.
To me, do you know where, if I want to get really specific, and not to pick on him because he's kind of, been pulling us this whole time, but man, Jack Eichel, prime scoring opportunity. Instead, he decides to do a no-look behind-the-back pass to no one. He was just kind of hoping someone would be there, and they weren't. We lose the puck. It goes the other way. Ovechkin scores the second of the game. After that, I was like, yeah, we're fucking cooked. We're cooked.
But yeah, there were several times where we passed to either no one or nobody in the zone at least, and they had a good shot. Again, what was it? Was it Hurdle that was at the hash marks and just didn't even take it?
No, yeah, he did a little spinorama trying to pass it, do a backhand pass to someone that he didn't even know was there because there was no one there.
Like, it was him all alone in the zone, and I'm just like,
man.
You have a good chance. Again, just at least try.
Even if it doesn't go in, like at least the puck would have gotten deeper in the zone, and we would have had time to recover and reset. But nope, you lose it in that position. Suddenly the puck's going the other way again. It's, oh my God.
Like, I'm sad about it, but it's like, man. And then, of course, if we're going to talk about it, but, now Ovechkin has 3 goals to add to it.
This is the worst part. We are going to be all over the highlights and the clips and the internet shit for the next, I'm going to say at least week. And it's going to be all like, oh, my God, Ovechkin scored a hat trick against the Knights, and now he's only 29 goals away, and oh, my God, and oh, my God, and it's already started.
If I'm right, I think I'm pretty right, but was this his first hat trick of the season?
I think so.
Which I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it to be against us.
Well, before the game, we were all saying, like, all right, I don't care how this game goes, just don't let Ovechkin score. What are we doing? Wow, we cataclysmically failed in that objective.
Oh, yeah, because the first goal was on a power play, and he was left alone in the same stupid spot where he always is.
By the way, a bullshit penalty where the Caps player literally fell down, and Hurdle got called for a trip, and Hurdle made no contact with the player.
And Hurdle was just like, what?
Yeah.
And again, I don't think I've ever seen Hurdle in the penalty box. So
like,
this is wild.
Yeah.
And it was just a bad start, and then just kept going from there.
Mm-hmm. You want to win the game before you go on a long road trip, but to lose like this, it's just like they dominated. I would say 75% of that game. Yeah. We were getting some good offensive time, getting good shots, and getting some good possession, but like Thompson looked better. And then again, Samsonov wasn't that bad. It was more on the team in front of him just giving up him piss poor fucking shots on him.
Yeah, agreed. It was not that he had a bad game. It's just, because that second Ovechkin goal, I'm like, dude, you let him go he literally walked into the hash marks, and then that was like literally textbook definition of a perfect prime scoring opportunity.
And it was, and he scored, and
he hit it. Yeah,
it's like fuck. And then in like the second period, where we went almost 7 minutes without a shot on net.
Yeah.
Which we flipped that in the third period, where we were.
But then again, we were peppering Thompson about how many of those shots were actually like high danger. Like it was just like a single shot and he collected it. Like yeah, because Thompson's a good rebound control goalie, where he's gonna keep those shots in and not gonna let like something leak out. But they were just at his chest or at his shoulders. There were shots where that we just straight up missed. Like Petro could have buried a goal, he hit the post. Hurdle could have had a goal over the shoulder, missed the net entirely. And it's terrible when your best line on your ice is a makeshift line of Hurdle, Waugh, and Kolesar.
And
that was the best line on the ice. And then Eichel really didn't do much until the end. Dorofiev was invisible. Barbie was invisible. The defense just wasn't good. And then we lost Hutton.
Yeah.
I totally
still don't know why Hutton was out for
injury of some kind.
2-3 periods.
I did see. I'm not gonna give this website any traffic. But I saw a Bluesky post saying that Hutton sustained an upper body injury and was ruled out for the remainder of the game. So now we've lost 2D, and on that 5-game road trip, we have a back-to-back, and we're going to face Toronto, who's been pretty good. We're going to face Ottawa, who has been okay, but they have a very charged offense, and our defense has been really bad. And we're going to face Colorado, and we're going to face the two, hopefully, gimmies are Philly and Montreal. But, yeah, man, 5-game road trip, some tough opponents, a back-to-back. We're down personnel. Not good. It's not good.
No, we need
and then the home gift to come back home. We play Winnipeg.
Oh,
what's such a wonderful gift?
Yeah, and then after we play Winnipeg, it's a back-to-back. We play Utah again.
It's a hard stretch of fucking games, and we should not have started this stretch with a loss like this. Like I know I keep saying cautiously optimistic, but this team is like pushing me more to like a pessimistic. Like they can score, it's just they can't defend.
Which again, on paper, like should we have a solid defense?
Yeah.
So like,
what are we doing? Yeah, we're just giving things away and giving things up for free. It's just like, guys, it's like you guys are better. Like they've gone like past the Bruce Cassidy system of team defense, and it's like you've got guys that are trying though. That's what's killing me. It's like Carlson's out there trying. Pearson's looking good. Holtz has changed his game. Schwindt's been good, but like Eichel, Barbie, nowhere to be found. The actual defense just not good. Like Whitecloud had a half decent game tonight. He made some good plays, but Pietrangelo not good enough. Theodore not good enough. Hannafin sure as shit not good enough. Like we need Haig back for sure, but like even without Haig, this defense should be better.
Oh yeah, and funny enough, you know who did pretty well on defense today and never does? Ovechkin, for whatever reason, was good on defense today.
No, yeah, I know. I was crying about that too because I'm like, there's at least 2 prime scoring opportunities that we had that he broke up. He got back like he looked like a defenseman. Like he had his stick in the blue paint, like denying us shots and. God.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny is I still follow Thompson on Instagram, and his profile picture right now is him and fucking Ovechkin fucking laughing and drunk somewhere, and I'm like,
oh, that makes me sad.
That makes me sad too.
I miss him.
But
again, Thompson, I will give credit where credit is due. Again, great game, 41 shots on goal, only let 2 in. Again, went, I would say like a minute and a half of 6-on-5, and just made some solid saves.
Towards the end there, he made 3 or 4 really big saves. Really big. They were not coincidental or defense. Like, no, they were grade A's, and he fucking stopped them. You know, I was telling you boys earlier, Kelly McCrimmon does not have a long track history of respecting players and their wishes. I know we all default to like, well, he requested the trade. Well, Kelly, maybe you should have said, guess what, bitch? Request denied.
Well, that's too damn bad.
That's too damn bad. You keep saving goals.
Be like, you're too good, and you know what? We might pay you better, but...
Yeah.
Oh, where was this $9 million cap increase when we needed it?
Yeah, because, frankly, Samsonov, he had a strong start. I'm not going to put the game on him against him today, especially because he's been gone with injuries.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This is the first game back. So, I'm like, again, going against, Ovechkin, and who's been on a hot streak lately.
And the way the defense has fucking been playing, you know. So, I'm not going to put anything on him, but his numbers have kind of regressed back to where we originally expected them to be. Hill's been a lot better. The last 3 or 4 games especially, Hill's been really good. But at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, you know, we're not that strong at that position, and we would have been in a better position if you just said, Logan, 1 more year, man. You got 1 more year left on your deal. If you still want to go at the end, you'll be a free agent. Just fucking go somewhere.
Yeah.
Your name is on the fucking Stanley Cup because of this team.
Yep.
You would have you would have gotten a deal somewhere. Like, you would have.
And if he was playing, again, I'm assuming if he played as well as he is right now, like, he would be getting some kind of deal at the end of it all.
And I'm not saying this because I know you're a closet Avs fan, so I'm not saying this to be mean, but some Western contenders, they're rolling out fucking Alexander Georgiev or fucking Stu Skinner, you know what I mean?
And it's it's rough.
Alexander Georgiev just went on IR. You want to know why he went on IR for?
Lower
Being
back
terrible.
Oh, damn.
No, but he actually went on IR. Like, but doesn't make a difference. He's got like a 750 save percentage.
More like
they were probably like, "Hey, Alex, so here's the deal. We're going to put you on IR so we can keep a Noonan up. And if you're not okay with that, we're just going to put you on waivers." Yeah. So,
yeah, and Capo Kokkonen was so bad that they put him back on waivers, and the Jets claimed him.
oh.
So, yeah, the Avs look better now with the scoring, but I feel like it's very similar to us. Like, our goaltenders are definitely better than the Avs have had. But their defense also not been good at all either.
No.
Like, Cale Makar's been solid, but they're getting scored on a lot.
And he has to make up for it. And again, he's defense. He shouldn't be having, like, again, it's cool that he has all the points and goals and everything.
Yeah.
But again, he's defense.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think that not Cale Makar, but Nathan MacKinnon is number 1 in scoring, number 1 in assists, but he's still somehow a minus player.
Alex, I know it's going to make us feel better, but we're not going to turn this into a shitting on the Avs session.
I mean, I wouldn't be too bad. I'm kind of about it right now.
They've won 4 games in a row. They just got 3 players back. Yeah. And meanwhile, we just let Ovechkin get his 31st hat trick of his career. He's now 29 away from the record. And we're about to go on a very gnarly 5-game road trip, man.
A tough home couple games.
Yeah, and then our reward for coming home is, a back-to-back with Winnipeg and Utah. Winnipeg has lost 2 in a row and looks like they're losing steam. So hopefully, let's pray to God, not that I'm religious, let's pray to God that by the time that game rolls around, they're like really in the depths of a bad downswing. Because we need that shit, man.
And hopefully, by the end of this road trip, Stone comes back.
I'm hoping he's back Tuesday, or Wednesday on the 20th. We need him back because our transition game is terrible without him. Our neutral zone game is terrible without him. I know it's hard to hinge on one player, but we're just I know we're missing a big piece.
That was he's captain for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that first line, I missed that first line that we had at the beginning of the series. They were on it. And again, that Barbie, Eichel, Stone line was insane, and I want that back.
Yeah. Me too. And it's a good point that we shouldn't be relying on one player, and this is why it bugs me. People are like, oh yeah, they just pretend that he's injured and put him on IR. I'm like, this team revolves around Mark Stone. He is the engine of this team, and yeah, man, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a symptom that perhaps our depth is not quite as deep as we think it is, because again, we were down in this game in the first 12 minutes of the third period. Cole Schwindt and Alexander Holtz did not go on the ice. Second game in a row, he went down to 3 lines and said, yeah, this is our best chance of winning. And then I think when those 3 lines just got pure exhausted, he's like, okay, fuck it. You guys can take a shift and try not to fuck it up. So, yeah, we need Stone back. We kind of need Olofsson back, too. We need some fucking options at forward.
Yeah, just something at this point.
Yeah, because second game in a row with 11 forwards. We're now missing 2D. And I think I mentioned this when we did our pregame, but the fact that we're on a 5-game road trip, suddenly getting news updates on injured players is going to be really difficult because none of the beat players are going to travel on a trip this early in the season. And so the only people asking Cassidy questions are going to be like Gary Lawless and Dave Gosher, people that work for the team. Yeah. And so if Kelly's like, hey, by the way, don't ask about Stone because he's hurt way worse than we're letting on, they're not going to ask. And so suddenly it'll be Thanksgiving, and then it'll probably be the night of Thanksgiving, and then they're going to quietly put him on LTIR because there will be less eyeballs on screens at that time, hopefully. Oh,
and then we get back and they're like, what's going on with Stone? I'm hoping for the best right now. Even with this loss, we're still number one in our
we're still number one in the Pacific. I think we're like number 2 or 3 in the West. 3 in the West. So it's not bad, but LA is like creeping up on us.
Yeah. Luckily, I think they're like a game or two ahead of us, which that's nice. But again, I don't want to rely on that. So
we have 24 points, 17 games played, or 18 tonight. But the Kings have 23 with 19 plays, so they got a couple more than us. So that's good. And the Vancouver's at 21 points. The Flames are at 21 points. The Oilers are at 20. The Kraken are at 19, and then the Ducks and the Sharks. That's besides the point. It's tight.
Again,
it's tight.
I want the Oilers to keep going down.
Yeah, it's tight, but we just can't take the foot off the gas, and we also can't just be comfortable with bad habits.
Yeah, to me, taking the foot off the gas, I don't think we can take the foot off the gas if the foot's never been there, because it feels like the foot has never been there so far. This is what kills me with this team is we always have good starts, and especially under Cassidy, we've had good starts. To me, that's always good. You want those points in the bag, but to me, it kind of lulls us into this false sense of security where, because Bruce Cassidy is such a hard-ass coach and our training camps are so intense, when you come out of the gate, we're usually the better drilled, more in shape team, and just by virtue of that and sticking to a system, we're going to have a pretty lopsided record in the first 10 games or so. Because a lot of other teams are they're floundering. They're trying to get their feet underneath them. But, guys, this is the part of the year where teams tighten up. They start to get better. They start to look like their true potential. And suddenly wins don't come so easy.
No, and then for a while, even with last year where we had 13 game wins and we started really hot, and then we just kept losing games and losing momentum and steam, and we just kind of went into a cruise control for a month or so. And I feel like we're getting to that again. We had a solid start, better than I thought we were going to do, which I love. But now it looks like we're just kind of cruising, and I'm like, now's not the time to cruise. We still need to get these points when we can.
Yeah.
And then just really get ahead of it. And then, once you get closer to playoffs and we feel like we're in a good spot, then cruise it out. It's fine. But now is not the time. These next 2 months are pretty vital, and then go from there.
Agreed.
If we can be in a top 1 through 3 position in the Pacific by 4 Nations break, I think we'll be okay. But it's so tight in the Pacific.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get tighter. There's too much talent in those top-end teams. Calgary's going to fall off.
We'll see how Winnipeg does and stuff like that.
That was the point that I was going to make. The standings are so tight, it's easy to say, well, we're in first and we've had such a good start. There is 4 points separating us in 5th place.
And again, that's a team going to overtime and getting 2 wins. That's tied.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly. And Seattle's been on a fucking heater. Edmonton's been winning again. Not in our division, but Colorado's won 4 in a row.
Yep.
Calgary, we're all waiting for them to fall apart. Hasn't really happened.
But you never. It's one of those you never know. But I'm not going to bank on it.
Vancouver doesn't even have their top goalie. They're still getting wins. It's not ideal, but they're still they're hanging in there. They're in 3rd. We're 2 points ahead of Dallas, 4 points ahead of Colorado, 5 ahead of Utah, 5 ahead of St. Louis.
Which, again,
the point being, the West is pretty tight right now. This road trip, if it does not go well, we can go from being first to being out of the playoffs.
Which sucks because, again, to lose it within one road trip will be awful. And then we would have to work our asses off just to get back in the running. And I'd rather just, again, get ahead, stay ahead, and just go from there.
Yeah, I agree. Man, it was. I knew this game was going to be tight. I really did, but I didn't think it was going to be a 4-2. Oh, I mean, empty net 5-2. But they've been a way better team than they have been in a long time. They were way better than they are, this year. But this team is better than losing to the Caps 2 in a row to them. 2 in a row to both games we played. And it's just mirror images of each other. It's the same game, and we just didn't play well.
No, and going into this game, both teams had a very close record of 11 wins and I think 4 or 5 losses.
Yeah, they were 11-4 and 1. No, 11-4 and 0, and we were 11-5 and 1 or some 11-4 and 1, something like that. Almost identical.
Going into it, I knew it was going to be a tight, close game. I just was kind of hoping that's what it was going to be, but we kind of got it handed to us, and that sucks.
Yep. No, I agree. I hate the Capitals. I hate them so much.
And
I hate Alexander Ovechkin. I hate Tom Wilson.
And it's going to suck because, again, with the Capitals this year, they seem to have that fire under them. And it's because I feel like it's because Ovechkin's getting close to breaking that record. And the closer they get, the harder they're going to play and the more they're going to want it. And I know Ovechkin wants that record very badly.
So the Washington Capitals are in 3rd place in the Metro. Oh. They have 23 points. Well, now they have 25 now. So now the Canes won tonight. So they'll still be in 3rd, but their point percentage is .719 as of right now because it hasn't updated for tonight. That is better than the Devils, who are in 1st. They have a 619. That's better than the Rangers, and then only second to the Hurricanes. They have the best points percentage in the Eastern Conference outside of the Hurricanes.
Yeah, and again, if Thompson keeps playing like he did tonight, they're probably going to go to playoffs, which, again, I'm not going to be surprised at that point, and they will be someone to contend with later on. And
well, it's funny because I think it was about a week ago, I texted Alex, and I was like, about a week ago. I texted Alex, and I was like, hey, look at this. The Caps had been doing what we did, where they're like, oh, we're just going to do a straight rotation with our goalies. And then about a week ago, they started Thompson twice in a row, and I was like, exactly. I'm like, they're not going to say it, but that's the sign. I'm like, he's the starter. He took the net. Well earned. Also, why is the Metro why does the Metro have good teams? They're supposed to be ass.
That's because if you look at it, the way math works is the Devils, the Canes, the Capitals, and the Rangers are all really good, and the Islanders are dog shit. The Flyers also 18 points, but 8-8-2, and then the Penguins terrible, 7-10-3 at 17, and then the Jackets 6-9-2 at 14 points. Quick conclusion of tonight: that game fucking sucked. We played like shit. We think we can come back from behind every game. I just want one game where we win 3-1, 2-1,
and get the lead early.
Get the lead early instead of coming back late.
I don't want to conclude this episode on a bad note. I don't want to go to bed angry, as they say, when you and your wife have been screaming at each other all day. So I will say briefly, there's a good team here. This is a good team. I do think they're maybe not as good as they seemed the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I think the record was a little too shiny. But at the end of the day, this is a good team. We are missing guys. I'm optimistic, but this road trip, I think, to quote Chandler Stevenson from last year, we need to dig down and grab ourselves by our balls and fucking show the league who we really are. So
yeah, because this road trip, unfortunately, could make or break it, and I really want to make it. I really do.
I think we will. It's just a matter of 8 cities in 8 days. Yeah, I made a post about that the other day. Before the Anaheim game, I was like, well, our next 8 games are in 8 different arenas. Granted, one of them is at home, but we're only at home for a day, so it's not like, you know what I mean? Like
an actual...
They flew in, went home, fucked their wife, came back to the rink, and now they're gone again.
Yeah, but we started off so hot at home. Last 2 home games were dog shit.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We were 8-0, best home start in team history, and then we got beat down by the Canes, and we got beat down by the Caps. 2 home games in a row. Maybe we needed it. Be like, you're not as safe at home as you think you are. But like you said, I don't want to overly panic, but you need to figure it out and win some close games and win some games against good teams soon. Because you're playing a lot of good teams. You're playing the Leafs on Wednesday. They're a good team. You're playing the Senators. They're a pretty solid team. Then you're playing the Avs, and then you're going to play the Jets. And you can't count games out against the Canadians, the Flyers, because who knows? They might fucking pull something out of their ass and, we're gonna win this game, even though they're both dog shit. But like
even going into it thinking that this is gonna be an easy dub. That's when
look what happened against look what happened against the Ducks. The Ducks, we were like, oh, we're gonna win this game. Barely fucking scraped that out. Yeah,
like, barely. And that one should not have been as close that at all.
All right, folks. Well, I think this will do it for this episode of Night's Watch. We'll see you again soon. Holidays are coming up. I think we feel optimistic. Kyler, thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining in.
Oh, always.
As we said when we started this podcast, this is about genuine fan reactions. We're not journalists. We're not trying to get clickbait. We're just having some beers and watching the game.
We're just a couple guys being dudes.
Exactly. So, and Kyler, you can join in on this. But until next time, stay gold.
Stay gold.
Ooh, hey, stay gold.